This is the new Garmin Varia rear view bike radar. That's bike radar with a space, we are bike radar with no space. In simple terms, this is a device that warns you about traffic approaching you from behind using radar. In isolation, the rear light is simply a device that reacts to cars, so it changes its flashing pattern when something is approaching you from behind. Actually, it's not just cars, it's also cyclists. If you have the complete radar bundle, it talks to a head unit and shows you actual information about what the perceived threat level of the approaching vehicles is and how many there are. The display uses a traffic light system to tell you what's going on behind you. Green means there's nothing closing on you from behind, orange means there is something there, and red means there's something there and it's travelling really quickly. There's also a strip down the centre of the screen that tells you how many vehicles are behind you and what their relative positions are. The radar detects things up to 140 metres behind you, but it only tells you about stuff moving at a greater speed than you are. So that means you can, for example, have a bus behind you and not know about it because it's moving at the same speed as you. If you've got one of the newest Garmin Edge cycling computers, i.e. the 25, the 1000 or the 520, then you can just buy the rear light and it will communicate with it and display information on the screen of the computer. On its own, the rear light is £160 or $200 US. If you want the complete bundle, it's £240 or $300 US. The weight weenies amongst you will doubtless want to know how much it weighs. Well, the rear light weighs 64 grams, the head unit weighs 29 grams, and the whole system is about 130 with mounts depending on exactly which combination you use. Initially, I was really skeptical about the idea, mainly because the head unit only communicates with you visually. So that means that if you're not looking at it, you're not getting any information about what's going on behind you. Also, when you're in busy traffic, there's so much going on, so many little lights moving around on the screen, not to mention the fact that you are actually riding a bike and dealing with stuff passing you, that it just seems too much. It's kind of unnecessary information that's not making you any safer. Where it seemed a lot more useful to me was when I was on really quiet roads and I wouldn't necessarily notice a car coming after 10 minutes of no cars. The fact that it's only giving you visual information is alleviated a good deal by pairing the rear light with a Garmin Edge computer instead of using the head unit, or in addition to using the head unit, because that way you get an audible warning when there's a vehicle coming. It seems to me quite a strange omission that Garmin haven't put any kind of speaker in the head unit that is normally paired with the radar, because that would make it so much more useful. If you do pair the Varia rear light with an Edge computer, then the device becomes a lot more useful on quiet country roads because it will actually warn you before you necessarily notice something approaching from behind. I guess the other issue that I have with the whole concept is I don't really know what to do with the information that the Varia is giving me. Because if, for example, I get the red light that means there's something coming up really quickly from behind, I'm not going to jump in a hedge, I'm not going to get off the road, I'm just going to hunch up and feel scared. Garmin openly admits that this is not a substitute for maintaining a proper lookout while you're riding a bike. Is this actually making us safer, or is it just giving us the illusion of safety because it's keeping us informed about what's coming? If you're not interested in the whole communication of information thing, you can also just use the rear light as a device that reacts to cars, because it changes its flashing pattern as things approach, and that the idea is that it will draw more attention to you, which does seem like quite a good idea. As a piece of engineering, the Varia is really impressive, and I'm quite curious to see where they're going to go with the technology and whether they might be able to make it a bit more affordable. I'm not sure if the Varia is for everyone, but if you're a bit of a nervous rider, you just want more information, or for example if you were hearing impaired and the extra visual information would be useful, I think it could be worth considering.